once you know words and you know how to use them, when you say that, Mr. Whitten,
Yes, sir.
then it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah.
A huge difference.
But give me your opinion about term limitations. That's something no one talks about, especially the guy who's been in there 30, 40 years.
Well, let me speak.
If you have term limitation on the highest office
Well, see,
in this country, you should have term limitation on the congressmen and the senators.
Well, actually, I think it should start at the Supreme Court because they're in there for life.
Okay.
So let's start there.
All right.
Work down to Congress because Clarence Thomas has been a detriment to us. The only thing that he has in common with us is pigmentation. Everything else is South. He's gone. We already know where he is. But the point is, he's there for life. I was reading just a couple of days ago where he's now been, sitting on the bench for 20-some years.
Can't believe it.
And now his wife, is a Tea Party person. So when Thurgood Marshall left the Supreme Court and Bush appointed Clarence Thomas, I guess he said to black people, this is how I feel about you. The only thing, again, that we have in common with him is pigmentation, and to me, that's a waste of melanin. Because when you have any job for life, then and your job has something to do with our lives. However long we live, if they live longer than we do, however long they are there, they impact our lives. And with the economy being what it is, and with President Obama being said no to at every turn, and it reminds me, when I think of the Republicans, if President Obama, if he was seen swimming, Republicans would say he's only swimming because he can't walk on water. And if he was walking on water, they would say he's only walking on water because he can't swim.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what he does. And we have to, as my brother said, we have to be out there rallying our young people to teach them the meaning of voter education, voter registration, and voter participation. So you can't leave any of those out. You have to do the three. Because once you understand how important it is to vote, then you have to teach other people how important it is. It's like learning how to read.
Yeah.
Learning how to read is important, but learning how to read between the lines is just as important.
Right.
Because you can't
and see, that's what people fail to realize.
They fail to realize.
Right.
Yeah.
Is
you
that
get out there and vote for.
You have to evaluate things.
Exactly.
Just like one of my strong subjects is the fact that Richard Wright, the great poet, said, "You're not free unless you economically free."
That's right.
And we need to pass this on to the
on.
young people.
That's right.
Just like John was saying, that's another thing. You got to get into the economics of this world.
That's right.
Not this country.
That's right.
But of this world.
Of this world.
And I think that as evolutionary elders, if we don't get anything more than that to the young people, just like in your neighborhood, everywhere something is made, what are you producing?
What are you producing?
What are you producing?
Right. That's right.
How are you into the economic system? You out there, look at yourself. Look at yourself. What are you doing? You're going 9 to 5. Right. And then if you miss a payment, boom, you're out of the economics.
That's right.
They're ready to sit you on the street. So I think that's one of the most important things that youngsters, when we're coming up, John is around my age, we're around the same thing.
Exactly.
Is the fact that people got to understand you have to get in the economic system of any, I don't care what it is.
What it is.
You have to, and one of the problems that Dr. King was fighting for was equality, economic equality too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And see, those are things that I think we've dropped the ball in passing it on to youngsters. We need, in fact, during segregation, we had more blacks into the economics than they have now.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
That's
you're
so
right.
true.
That's a good
Right.
point you make because I was talking to someone a couple of days ago again. I just come back here from California. This is my first time back, and thank you for having me
We were
back.
trying to run you down I was asked.
Yeah, and Paul Robeson came to mind, and I mentioned him to some young folks, and I said, during his time, and black men and women of his ilk, they did more with less, and we do less with more.
Right.
We have more resources, we have more everything, and we do less. They had less, and they did more. So back to your point, this is what we have to teach our young people. And I'm reminded of a quote from the basketball coach John Wooden. He said, "Don't ever allow anything that you cannot do get in the way of what you can do." And we as a people, we have a welfare mentality. We don't think that we're supposed to go out and do as much as we can do for ourselves. I mean, it's easy to blame racism on everything.
Right.
But while you're doing that, there are some other things that you could do and circumvent racism and work around it. Because if Harriet Tubman and Dr. King and James Baldwin and these people, if they worked around it to get the messages out to us that they did, then they didn't allow racism to get in the way.
Right.
When Mary McLeod Bethune knew that we needed a school, we needed education, and she had, if it had to come out of her house, she had to get it started. Yeah. And I say, well, about Brother Malcolm, he didn't have a website, but he had a lot of insight.
Yes. Well, see, along the point there, I think we discussed off camera is the fact that they're building more prisons than they are schools.
That's right.
Exactly.
Now,
That's
you
right.
want to comment on that? Anybody want to comment on? Okay.
I will.
All right.
Schools and churches. I'm
Yeah.
looking at mega churches being built, and I'm looking at some of that acreage, and I think Dr. Williams and I had discussed this not long ago, and some of that land, could be used to grow food. See, if we teach our young people, how to live off of the land, and food don't come out of a can. It comes from the ground. They put it in a can, and you think it's growing in a can. Del Monte doesn't mean nothing. The food came from the ground. I grew up planting. I know how to do that. Agribusiness is something that we need to be involved in.
Well, actually, people don't understand. The economy of this country was built by the slave labor.
Right.
This country
That's right.
built itself on the fact that they had free labor in agriculture.
That's right.
What business with free labor, can you parlay into a fortune?
Yeah.
And see, that's what people don't understand. The United States wasn't known then. It was known for agriculture.
That's right.
And you get free, you didn't have to pay a salary, you didn't have no benefits, nothing. And young people have to realize that too. Just like John was saying, the things, the changes that are going on, we need to make them aware of it, you see. Because, during my time in the 50s and the 60s, they stressed education. And what happened is that most of the educated African Americans ended up in the post office. I think all of us had people that was the only agency. That was our part of the economic. We stressed that either we're involved with that or either the railroad or the post office. And there was limitation there. But what we have to do, we have to get these young people to forget about that and get involved in the economics of this country. And we have to open those doors. Don't wait for somebody to open the door for you.
Very good.
See,
If I
because
might,
they're going to open the door, but it won't be to the economics level that you like.
if
See?
I might interject with that, Mr. Brown, is when the Supreme Court let everybody send as much money that they could to the elections, regardless where it came from,
Right.
that created another problem for black people. And it's very important that young people understand the only way you can beat big money in this system is to go out there and vote against it. If you don't go vote, you're going to suffer the consequences.
That's it.
Common sense.
And when you vote, I stress this part, when you vote, stay on top of what's going on.
Amen.
Attend meetings. A lot of us don't attend meetings.
That's right.
You put the guys in there and they in there 3-4 years. You're supposed to monitor them.
Yeah.
You have to monitor. Anybody you vote for, you monitor. And this is, you can't wait and say, well, I'm going to do this. You have to go to those meetings. This is one thing, participation in the system.
Right. Got to have that participation.
You
That's
got
right.
to have that. And young people, they don't understand it. You know, they rather go with John Blow and go to the movie. And most of them can really talk sports and football and music. Hey, let's talk economics. How many times you walk up and no one's talking about economics? They're talking about sport, entertainment, everything but that.
That's right.
But the problem is economics. Once you get on the same economic base, they have to respect you.
That's true.
I had a question that I have never been answered to me that it bothered me a little bit. The Supreme Court has unlimited amount of powers. We know that.
Yes.
But just to hear the word Supreme Court automatically tells you in your mind that these are good people.
Yeah.
These people are going to do just for everybody. But
That's
that's
not
not the
true.
case.
It's the opposite.
That's not the case.
That's not true.
Now, my question is, what can the justice system do in that regard? If there is a person or persons on the Supreme Court unethical.
Well, that's because what we were talking about term limitation. And your brother said the first place we start is the Supreme Court. Because I was thinking in terms of the congressman. But I think no individual should have life
right.
tenure in nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I don't care what it is. You know, you shouldn't have it. And that's one of the problems. You start the attitude of good old boy network. And that's what President Obama is having problems with.
Exactly.
That
Yeah. Oh,
good
yeah.
old boy
That's right.
network
Exactly.
is not
Exactly.
allowing him to be successful.
Yeah. Because what
Okay,
you,
what we have to do, if we're going to wrap this up, I want to thank the brothers there, the Whitten brothers there, John Wetzel and Dr. Eugene Williams. Tell us quickly, wrap up that book.
Words Cross and Across. Word search on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is a book that will help kids to learn about Dr. King, but it also will help them to improve their vocabulary, improve their writing, improve their speaking, improve
Okay.
their scores on standardized tests like the SAT.
All right now. You've heard it here on the Ed Brown Show. We evolutionary elders, we know the problem, we see the problem, and what we want you to do to get involved in the problem. And the problem is economics.
And
the word
education.
economics. You have to get into the economics of anything. This country, this world. This has been Ed Brown. See you next time.